Welcome everybody to today's unit, SITXHRM003 Lead and Manage People. I am your trainer, Ajoy Cena. I'll be going through most of the PowerPoints. I'll try not to skip any as much as possible. If we might not skip anything at all. So please pay attention to what I go through. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me or the Institute at any point. You can email us or just ring us or get in contact with your trainer, and they can give you the best guidance on any questions that you might have. Okay, so as I go through the slides, we will be getting to class activities, where I suggest that you pause, and then once you complete the class activity, move forward and play the video. And as you continue through on the slides with me, as we get to more and more activities, I would like you to pause and continue on with the activity once completed, and then so on and so on. So for me not to keep boring you guys any further, let's get on to the task. So for the first one, we've got 1.1, act as a positive role model through individual performance. So on this case, I always like to say, lead through doing, not through telling. So if people see you doing a specific task away, they would most likely follow. But if you just tell them, it's not really clear to some people. They like to, most people, specifically in our industry, they like to see it performed, and they can go through it and do the task a few times, and then they will grasp it a lot better than just telling them what to do. So such as, when we're setting a positive example, most people, if they see a leader or a person in a supervising role doing the right thing, they would like, or even just subconsciously do the exact same thing as the supervisor is doing. If they're doing the wrong thing, they would also follow the wrong thing as their supervisor is doing, because they might not know better. And in most cases, the reason that they are your supervisor is that you are thinking that they know what to do, and we follow them without question in most cases. So, when you are going to be a supervisor in the workplace, let's say as you move along through your career, you want to set a standard of how you work so others can follow. When staff members, when they often look at you, you want to be inspiring them so they can follow in your footsteps. As you go through your career, you'll start building respect between the people below you. So, if you do the right thing, that respect is earned, and it's for the right reasons. So, they don't, somewhere down the line, they don't see that you've been teaching them the wrong thing, and then it becomes a disappointment for them that they've given you that respect for your position that you hold, and then them to find out that you realistically don't know anything. Another thing is that most customers, they really don't sometimes give the respect to somebody in an introductory role. So as if you were a manager and you would approach a customer, they would put more weight in your words than somebody that's just new or in a lower position. So as you give instructions or address an issue that a customer might have, you need to really think about what you're going to do before you do it or say it. So pay attention to those things as you go along. Alright. Okay, so also about individual performance. When you've got roles and functions that you've got to do, there's always things that are difficult, and I say always making decisions is the most difficult thing, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be for the decision until you've actually gone through with the task. Sometimes this decision is being made and it's never been made before, so it's unknown territory for what is going to happen. So it might be risky sometimes, but you've got to do it in a position of leadership and where you're managing things. You've really got to take the step and make decisions on the spot. You've got to be really quick, and you've got to solve problems with whatever is really logical, the most cost effective and beneficial to the business, but also beneficial to the customer, because you don't want to be one-sided. You really want to be in the middle to make both parties happy. You don't want to make the business happy to the point where the customer is unhappy and they give you a bad review, and where the business is unhappy where they lose money. Ultimately, that's the goal. We want to make as much money as possible without making the customer feel like they've been cheated out of their dollars. Next thing is about delegating tasks. I think you've got to really understand who you're delegating tasks to. Sometimes newer staff won't be able to handle a lot of tasks at the same time, so I don't recommend verbally. I always like to have a task list. Even if it's written down on an old piece of paper, it's much better than giving tasks to staff verbally, as they'll forget most likely, as in our industry it is really quick. It's really fast paced, and you tend to forget a lot of things. You get, at one point you're serving a dish, and then you get called because somebody spilled water, and then you're coming back and your chef is telling you that you need to take another plate to table 8. So in between, if I had told you, can you take the rubbish out, you would probably forget because it's not that important. But if you had a list of things that you'd give to the, your subordinate, it would be much easier for them to follow accordingly. So also we've got monitoring staff, very important. As you would know, when you do go into a new job role, it is very important for you to understand that job role. But more than that, it is important for people higher than you in a senior role to understand if you are actually understanding that job role. So they will be able to, you will be, when you're in a higher position, be able to tell them if they're actually doing it right by monitoring them, which is by doing it regularly. You might take some reports or logs and actually write down what they're doing good and what they're doing not so good. I don't really like to use the word bad, but because you can always improve on those things. It's just finding the place where you're going to improve, and that's where you really want to focus on, because a lot of people get really down when you use that you're not really doing this, you're really doing this bad, or you can't do this at all, why can't you understand? So they take it negatively and they shut off. So I think it's always good to go with, okay, this is where you are at, and this is where I want you to be. So you're starting here at this level, and then this is what you need to do to get to the next level. So if you work that way, you'll always be able to get more out of your workers, instead of saying, oh, you've done this really bad and this is really good. Well, then they might say, okay, if I'm bad at that, I'll just do the things that I'm good at. So you really, in our industry, it's really important that the staff that we hire can multitask. So telling them that they're bad at something and good at another is really going to scare them away from doing a lot of tasks. So the next one is about planning and organizing. It's really important for a business to be well organized, because you don't know when something unexpected will come up. So you as a manager will be able to take on the unexpected, where your whole team can still take on what you've planned for them. So they can follow a good plan, and as it hopefully it should be well organized for you to take the least amount of time, so they can keep doing what they're doing and you can tackle the unexpected. So the other one is about providing information to employees regarding could be anything, such as new training, could be about something that the government has set up, or any insurance claims, or any hazards, or any incidents that have happened. So you as a leader in your workplace will most likely be tasked to explain these things, or lead a specific team to a specific goal. So being able to really put forward the ideas, especially verbally, or sometimes it could be done in other methods of communication, but most likely it will be done verbally. It's really important that you can comprehend the information and then explain it to your staff in a way that they can also comprehend. So it might be done in such language that might not be so easily understandable. When you take that information and then reword it for them, it might be a lot more easier, for them to take that task on than to just give them a piece of paper with the legal wording or what the government has, essentially said to do. Then they might go, this is too much writing. I've seen it many times, and they just go, oh yeah, good, and they throw the paper away. So it's essentially a waste of printing a piece of paper, and they have not had any benefit from getting that piece of information. So figure out how you're going to be doing that, and what is your preferred method of doing that. Especially, you will know, as you know yourself, you know what your personality is like, and a lot of people can speak, a lot of people can draw up charts and flow charts, and a lot of people can really just communicate really well in written form. So it really depends on how you perform best. Okay. Alright, so as we go on to activity A, I'll talk about the questions a little bit, and then I'd like you to pause, and then once you've completed the activity, come back to me and we can move on. Okay. So the first question is, provide at least 2 reasons why it is important for managers and supervisors to act as positive role models within the workplace. So, we've talked about this before. If I was asked this question, it could be about things like, to set a good example means that in the future they will be leaders and you don't have to be. So when there is, or if there isn't a chance of you being there, they can take that step, so and take control. So it's very important that you train your staff well, and that in the future they can take your example and then move on with that and use that for their basis of their leadership. So and it creates a positive morale, in the workplaces. If you're being positive and you're directing everybody in the right way, people are more likely to enjoy the work than to go home and not enjoy it and then have it just being a paycheck. There's more loyalty in people enjoying work, and you will have those workers a lot longer, especially in this day and age where most people like to change careers very often. If they don't enjoy it, they won't do it. And if the pay is not good, especially in the hospitality industry, we don't really do it for the pay. It's really because we enjoy cooking and we enjoy the service. Because this industry won't make you rich unless you're doing things on a large scale. Yes, it will get you by. Yes, you'll learn a lot from this industry. Most people who work in hospitality, they become really quick and really adapt to solving problems a lot quicker, and how to deal with aggravated customers. So you can use those skills throughout any industry. So next we've got what roles and functions do you have as a manager? Provide a minimum of 3 examples. So if you've got a role as a manager, most likely you would have to provide information to your staff, train them on a specific task, guide them on a specific function of your business. When you're a manager, you would need to kind of understand how the business is running. You would also need to really focus in on people and how they're feeling, so you can guide them in the next step of the business. So if they're just a introductory worker and they have got a small role in the job, and you might see some potential in them, you've got to now take the step, monitor them and see where they can grow in the business, so you can put them in a bigger position. Essentially, it benefits them, it benefits you. They've got more money in their pocket, they enjoy the work, so they've got more involved in the work, and plus more responsibilities are taken off you in the workplace. But essentially, there's many other functions that you play as a manager, so go for it. Alright, so this is where I'd like you to pause and come back. Alright, so I hope that activity went well for you guys. Let's move on to the next one. So now we've got 1.2, show support and commitment to organizational goals in day-to-day work performance. So a mission statement is a equivalent statement that defines the overall purpose of the organization and its primary objectives. So mission statement, this is just the definition on here. So if we are talking about mission statement, everybody's mission statement is different. So, but in food, essentially when we're talking about food, we all want to serve food and get a return and make a profit on that food, and hopefully everybody gets paid at the end of the day. But that really can't be our mission statement. Our mission statement has to be more inclusive of our environment, our what we see for the future of the business, what we also want our business to show to the community and to the world, what we want to reflect. So it's really got to be, you don't want to have a big paragraph of a mission statement, but you want to be able to give a brief description of what your ultimate goal is for this business. If you want to be a small provider, make it small. If you want to be a large venue, think about why you want to be a large venue and how it can factor on to your mission statement and things like that. So you really want to consider what you're going to do as a business and ultimately what you see the business to be. And together you can use your team and follow that vision. So as you set ideas and targets, and you're looking for the future and you're looking towards what you're going to be doing, you really want to hone in on those goals, because sometimes you get fixated on what the exact goal was, but you get lost in how you're going to get there. So you might not want to have 100 goals, because then it becomes too difficult. So have a few, I would say 5 goals for your business, and ultimately what you want to do with that business, and then attack that goal, see if it's achievable or not, and if it's not, why isn't it? Maybe you need to break that goal down and have those goals much more step by step and logical to follow, than to just say, okay, I want to have a revenue of $1 million for a 50-person cedar restaurant. So how are you going to be doing that? What are your marketing strategy? Things like that. You'll follow on that, and you'll grow your business on that. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve that? You want to focus on those things. So now we've got the acronym, so SMART objectives. So essentially you kind of want to put your objectives in that category. You want to assess them against this category. So if I say, okay, I want my business by the next financial year to produce $1 million worth of food, essentially revenue, is it specific enough? And can it be easily defined? Yes, it's very specific. And is it measurable? Yes, I want to, maybe serve $1 million worth of food. If each plate is $10, that's you just divide by 10. So you want to sell 100,000 plates of food, essentially. And then you've got to see if people have, if you've got other partners, is that something that they would want? So you got to see if that, maybe if I have another business partner, maybe they want more or less, doesn't matter. Okay, Realistic, is it realistic? Yes, if I'd say so, we could do a multiple. If we're doing, let's say 100,000 plates, you divided that by 52 weeks, you know, you could say essentially if you do 1,000 plates, you know, each week, you're good to go pretty much, right? Sorry, 2,000 plates. So you're pretty much good to go. That I don't think that's too bad. What about time bound? Yes, we've set a time, but can we reach it? Is it possible? So the goal that I've set, it can be, you know, can be approached, and we've done it before. It's just a matter of your business. If you've got maybe 10 seats and, you know, you're really trying to focus on dine-in, it's going to be much more difficult. So you might want to focus on takeaway, where your food needs to be reorganized or restructured to, you know, be fit into a takeaway system compared to a dine-in where you've only got a small dine-in. So it's really on thinking about it in a way that it's achievable. It's good to have the goals, but we need to make sure it can still be achieved. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. When we're showing support for organizational goals, it really it depends on what we want to do. So a lot of times we'll go through a meeting and, you know, staff might come up with good ideas, great ideas, and those ideas seem great on paper, but when we try and put it forward, they might not actually form out the way we see it on paper. So a lot of the times it's really important for us to set goals and try and reach them, but, you know, not to get disheartened if we don't. So then we move forward, we learn from our mistakes, and then, you know, take what we've learned, take the positives and remove the negatives, and then address another goal as we go along. Alright, so activity 1B. Now I want you to also pause the video once I kind of give you a brief run through of the questions. We'll pause again, and then once you're done, come back to me, and then we can continue on. Alright, so question 1, describe the difference between a mission statement and a vision statement. Corporate aims, and explain their use for the significance you know, for your organization. So if we're talking about a mission statement, you know, it's really about how, you know, what's the quality, you know, it's kind of a long, kind of generic, kind of, you know, kind of a broad statement that we're making that we want to do. This, you know, this could have a lot of factors involved. But when we're doing a vision statement, it's more about the ideas that we're going to be putting forth to achieve that vision statement. So when we've got that mission statement, that's kind of above us, and we're always telling each other, okay, let's do it as a group, and we'll get there, we'll be able to feed the homeless of Sydney. But if we have a vision statement, we can say, okay, each week we're going to be feeding 2,000 locals, and then for each person that we feed who pays for their meal, we'll be able to feed one person that is homeless. So, you know, that's a goal that we could set. So if we feed 2,000 people, we could, you know, essentially feed 2,000 homeless people at the same time. So setting those objectives are really important for that vision statement. And so vision statement is very, you know, calculated, step by step, setting goals. But when you've got the mission statement, it's very broad. You know, it's telling you what you want to do ultimately, what your business wants to do in maybe 2 to 3 lines. But your vision statement, you've got these goals set up and that you want to follow through your employees or your co-workers together. Alright, what actions can you take within the workplace to show support for and commitment to organizational goals? So let's say if I am, you know, trying to show support to my team members. I would encourage them when I'm holding meetings with them to give us ideas and how we can make the workplace better. Have an open conversation with everybody and really realize where we're going wrong, and not really be stuck in our minds of, okay, this is how we do it, this is how we've done it, and we'll keep continuing to do it. If somebody's got a better idea on how to do it, it's much more profitable for you to try and take that on than to stick with what you're doing but doing it wrong. So if you take that new advice on to the team, and if you try it and it doesn't work, that's great. You didn't lose anything. You just you did it and it didn't work, and let's move on. Let's go back. Maybe the previous one works better, but you would always have an opportunity cost where, what if you had done that and it turned out really well for you? So you would never know. So the what if is the problem. So providing that that you support one another and you have a open place where everybody can say what they want to say. So if they come back to you and they say, okay, we should do this, you should really bring that up in a meeting, or let everyone know, look, this is what's happening, this is a problem that we've faced, and Joey's got a possible solution for it. Let's try and use that solution to see if we can achieve the goal and solve the problem. So this is where I want you to stop, go and complete the activity, and so pause the video. When you're done, come back. Okay, hopefully you've got those 2 questions out of the way. So let's move on to the next activity. Oh well, the next points anyway. So we've got 1.3, interact with team members in a positive and professional manner. So as it says, really, it's really about how you want to convey yourself and your actions within your co-workers. So most people, especially in our industry, it's very relaxed. You would go into a lot of the higher class venues where they are more strict, but you'll see most hospitality venues in Australia, they're very much a small team. They work as a family. You'll see them, everybody knows each other, their wives, their kids, everybody knows what's going on within their lives, and they kind of become family while they work together. So it's hard to draw the professional line when you're working with somebody for so long. You become family members, so sometimes you do cross the line. So this is where it's important to maintain that professionalism. So when you are a manager, to keep those things intact within you, so you can keep going back to those principles, you need to go to workshops, you need to go to meetings, attend some seminars or social events where you are getting some information periodically to tell you this is what's up, this is the new strategy that the industry or worldwide is being followed, and these are the benefits. So if you use that, your workplace might also benefit from those tactics and the processes that are introduced. So as you go along, when you do interact with someone, mostly you would use positive interactions. There are, especially in our industry, there are points where people do like to hold on to their role and say, this is what I do, I don't do anything else, and you've come in, you're a new guy, you do this, and you'll learn going through what I did. So yes, that is interesting, to kind of say, okay, I did the shit, sorry to excuse my French, but so now you also have to go through the dirty aspects of the job. But if we can improve on that, it cuts that time frame, and then that staff member can essentially come up to your level a lot quicker than for them to figure out things on their own, make mistakes, get screamed at, and then come to you. So it's very important for you to, especially when you've got new staff, tell them what usually you get caught out on, or when you started the job, what you got caught out on, and what the problems you faced, so then they can avoid those things. It's really important because you'll be acting as a mentor. You are essentially mentoring them through their job until they can be your equal, until they are on the same level as you. So it's very beneficial for you to tell them, avoid these problems, because ultimately if they cause a problem, most customers are going to get, ask you to solve the problem. They're not going to ask the young and new employee. They're going to tell you, hey manager, can you solve this problem? And ultimately, if the new staff can avoid having problems, it means a lot less headaches for you. Alright? So, like the PowerPoint says, use positive greetings, talk to each other by name, don't be rude to them, be empathetic and understanding, and always treat them fairly. Give them the respect that they, not that they deserve, but what you would want if you were in their position. Okay, so it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't give you respect. Okay, just treat them how you would like to be treated, and then they'll come around. It's just sometimes if they're a senior person, they've got something stuck in their head, and as you don't want to be that same person when you're a senior. Okay, so when you're looking at positive interactions, especially when you're guiding somebody, you might want to compliment them throughout their work where they feel more energized. Having that little compliment, oh man, you're doing good, great work. It really, boosts someone's energy levels, Also, you want to be constructive with your criticism. You don't just want to say, oh, that was a shit job you just did. Tell them, hey John, I see what you're doing there. Maybe you could do this a bit better. So then next time your job is a bit quicker. And this is how you'll save time, and you can go home early a little bit if you're spending less time on it. So be honest with them. If you're lying about something, or if you're trying to go around the true issue, sometimes you might not actually be able to convey what the problem is. So be honest, have an open conversation, and see if you can actually see what the problem is, or where the staff is having problems. Maybe this industry is not meant for them, and ultimately for them to keep trying is going to be something that ultimately doesn't work out. So it might be better for them to find out a lot earlier than for them to keep going and facing failures and facing brick walls, and then losing all that passion for work, and then that might lead into other social and psychological issues that they might never recover from. So be truthful, tell them what's up, and I think they would do the same for you in the future. Alright, appropriate language. We can get really confused in this industry, as we've seen on TV. A lot of the celebrity chefs like to use a lot of colorful language. I can be blamed for this many times throughout my career. I'm really cool, cool-headed, level-headed, as I work, but sometimes you really can't avoid it because your environment is so aggressive and hot, and you're already irritated by your environment, and then if something wrong happens, and it keeps happening, then you kind of reach your boiling point. So it's really about self-management. How do we avoid it? And we don't want to be continuing it if it does happen. If it does happen, apologize and move on. We're all adults here. We should be able to understand why we did it, and if you were in the wrong, apologize, move on. Okay? And most importantly, using eye contact. So places where, such as India or more South Asian continents, or even Asian continents, it's not really seen as respect to use direct eye contact. Most people in those countries, if they're being talked to or given some sort of reprimand, they're supposed to look down and not at their eyes. In Australia and most Western countries, they like to keep eye contact when it's more of a sign of, yes, I'm paying attention to you, I'm giving you my time, I understand I've done something wrong, so I'm listening. But you have to understand, you can't be looking at them aggressively, you can't be looking at them with a lot of energy, or so just be natural, understand where they're coming from, understand where you're coming from, and then move on together. Okay. Alright, so activity C, let's go through the question. Once I go through the question, pause the video, complete your questions, and then come back and we can move forward. So, why is it important for managers and supervisors to interact with team members in a positive and professional manner? So, like I've said before, if you're being professional and you're setting that example, your employees will also be professional with you as you are with them. And, well, you hope so anyway. But, if you're demonstrating that this is how it should be done, you're their leader. You're showing them this is how I want everybody to move forward, and you should be doing the same. And hopefully they learn from you, and they will do that when they're in a better role, they're in a higher role, they will do the same with the people below them. So, and the cycle continues. But if you set a standard where if they've got a problem and you're always dealing with it with, oh, don't ask me, or go figure it out yourself, they will do that to the people below them, and it kind of breaks the cycle. So you want the cycle to continue. The quicker everybody can solve problems, the quicker we make money, ultimately. Okay. Outline a range of actions that may take place in positive and professional interactions. So, greeting employees, using their name, having great eye contact, using proper body language, all those things. So there's many possible answers. Just, outline a few, like at least 5, tell me a few, and put that in your answer. Okay. Within a workplace environment, demonstrate a range of actions provided to interact with employees in a positive and professional manner. So this is where we would need to do like a small activity within the class. So your trainer might be doing this, where he goes through a group discussion, and then you might want to perform those tasks that you guys come up with. So then each of you can demonstrate those professional, actions, such as shaking hands, greeting each other with the actual greeting. If it's a cultural greeting, use the appropriate greeting. If it's a gender-based greeting, if it's touching aloud or not touching aloud, it's just taking all those things into consideration and understanding that everybody's on an equal level, that no one is below you or above you and you treat them any differently. So using those principles, act out those actions, and your trainer should tell you to move forward. Okay, so when you guys do that, also write in your activity what you've done a little bit in that number 3 question. So write your explanations to 1, 2, and 3. So this is where you'd pause the video. Once you're done, come back, and then we can move forward on to the next performance criteria. Alright, hopefully everybody has done the activity. Now let's move on to 2.1. Develop and clearly communicate short, medium, and long-term plans and objectives consistent with organizational goals in consultation with the team. This is very important, as we want to involve as much people as possible that are important to our business. You guys have heard me say this before, but the stakeholders who are important, you want to involve them in your plans going forward, because they will be able to give you, the outcome that they want, and the best current information, as they are also involved in your industry. So they will be able to let you know, this is what's happening. Okay, takeaway is really important. Okay, online is really important. So you'll be able to focus on those aspects. Alright, so short-term plans, really, as the term explains, these are really set out for you to achieve on the short term, in a shorter space of time. So you can implement these, on issues that can be solved on a smaller scale and a lot quicker. So you want to focus on the issues that won't take too long, obviously. I'm guessing the next one is long-term. Okay, so we got medium and long-term plans. Planning for medium and long-term involves applying permanent, problems to short-term problems. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So planning for medium term involves applying permanent solutions to short-term problems. So when you're doing long-term, it also involves policies and procedures and how these things in a step-by-step process would ultimately address our mission and vision statements. So the longer it is, the more processes we need to keep. If it's a shorter plan, obviously the action plan is going to be a lot shorter. Alright, so objective wise, we're always thinking about what is the objective next. So we want to have a great workflow, okay, and when we have a flow that is positive, it can only have a snowball effect. If you have plans that really end on a downer, it can create a lower morale and have issues on the performance of your team. So you want to be able to use it as a motivator, and maybe they achieve a high note, and then there's a certain amount of a small celebration or a goal where they have a benefit after reaching that goal. So having those endpoints are really important. Sometimes it just depends on your team. If everybody's focused, it doesn't matter if there are benefits to it or not, we're just going to get it done. But sometimes not all people are focused and driven on the same goal, so you might want to have a just have goals with specific outcomes that you want, and then once we reach those outcomes we can celebrate a little bit. So also when we're doing this objective-based task, you also want to be monitoring everyone, so you can see who is not and who is doing the right thing, and then you can address those issues in the task. Because if you leave it for too long, this will affect your whole team because they're falling behind. We're only as strong as our weakest link. So if one person is falling behind, if we can't solve why they're falling behind, we're going to be losing a lot of time, and time means money. So we got to figure it out. Might not be straight away, which is okay. Sometimes you don't know what the answer is, and it might take you a little bit, but if you don't focus on it, it just keeps happening. It might delay your ultimate endpoint. So a lot of times too, you want to be considerate of the skill level. So maybe you've positioned somebody in the wrong place and you need somebody else, so it is good to be self-aware or aware of your team and their skills, and maybe you just need to change a team member and just move somebody out, and it might be really helpful to adjust your team sometimes, because having somebody with the proper skill set and instead of having to train them will take you a lot quicker. But it also depends, maybe your skill set doesn't exist. In our space right now, we're going through a few changes, especially with online. We're trying to figure out how the customer is reacting to online, as more and more customers are, trending in the statistic of staying home and ordering more. So do we really need to focus on, for second, like front-end service staff? Do we need to have waiters? Do we need to have service people? Do we focus more newer businesses on just takeaway and having our business through online distribution, and not having a sit-down restaurant where we have cleaners and waiters and all those kind of things? Alright, so drawbacks of management by objectives. Well, there's so many drawbacks. When you're focusing on objectives and you can't reach the target, it can be a negative thing, and sometimes people can get stuck on those targets and not really understand that maybe we didn't reach the target exactly, but what positives have come out of it. Also, when we, let's say some targets may be outdated. So let's say if I was trying to say I want to make $1 million this year, but that might sound great when in the 1980s making $1 million a year, but maybe in 2020 $1 million might be something average that everybody's doing. So it's just, you need to consider your positions, and if at the end of the goal, is it even worth it? Is it even going to make a dent in your mission statement if you set that goal, and ultimately are you going to be able to hit that mission statement, or the vision statement? So now we're also looking at, if we're talking about employees, if it's all about performance and hitting targets, they might get lost in it and they might lose that focus, and they'll lose the interest, they'll go away. So you need to kind of be loose and go with the flow sometimes. Just, you need to be able to sense how your team is feeling. As you're a leader, you can't just always say go, 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 go. You need to kind of whisk your way around and navigate. You need to kind of be a boat on the ocean. When it's slow and steady, you move as the waves move, and as it gets rocky, you get rocky as well. So just try and gauge how your team's going. If everybody's enjoying it, you go hard and you push, push, push. If everybody's not enjoying it, you kind of fall back and take a looser step. Just react to how your team is reacting. Alright, so let's go on to activity 2A. Describe the use of short-term, medium-term, long-term plans and objectives within your business. So we were talking about short-term, medium-term, long-term. If if you're doing short-term plans, there's not much processes that you'll need to create, but you might have a specific goal that you might have for your team and your staff for that goal, and you'll have a short-term, like the word says. But essentially you'd want things to be done in a short frame of time that can easily be solved. Medium and long term, you'll need to obviously create, if it's a problem that can't be solved straight away, you might need to have processes, and in those steps, you might have 10 steps, where those 10 steps might be broken down into 10 months or 10 weeks, and that might help you to ultimately reach that goal. So objectives within your business, you always want to reflect back, is it actually addressing what I need it to address? Is my business and my plan going in the same direction? And if it's not, there's no point wasting your time, wasting your team's time, implementing that plan, and then not having the same outcome. So remember, give me an explanation of these three terms, what they are, what they mean to you and your business, and ultimately how they will affect your business goal and objectives. Okay, so go on to the task, complete it within your workbook, pause the video. When you're done, come back and we can move forward. Okay, so now that you're back, let's move on to 2.2. Communicate expectations, roles and responsibilities of team members to encourage them to take responsibility for their own work. Very self-explanatory. Make sure everybody knows their role and that they're committed to achieving that role, and explain what they need to do, and if they can do it, that they agree that these are their responsibilities, and you can move forward with them knowing that they know what is expected of them to do. If you say, I want to be able to fly, and most people think that you're kind of you got a screw loose, it's not going to be helpful. Even if you think you're going to be achieve that goal, it's not going to be helpful if your team members think you've got a screw loose and they're just doing it for a paycheck. If they're not interested, they're not really going to be able to solve the problem with you. Yes, they can do day-to-day tasks that are repetitive and things like that, but ultimately, if that's your goal, to have a task that's repetitive for them, they're only really being involved for a small amount of time, so they know their position. But if this person is a big key player, they need to know what tasks they will have to do. So communicating that is going to be very important for you. First of all, we can do that verbally. In writing as well, we can write that down in a workplace manual, and they can follow that day to day. Most people don't read manuals, so it's it might not be the easiest way to get that through. Most people, when do they touch manuals? When they've made a mistake, when they've done the wrong thing, and then they go, oops, I just made a mistake, how can I solve it? So you don't really want it to be in a booklet that's 50 to 60 pages. They're not going to read it. But in saying that, you have people who love following instructions, and they want a sheet or a booklet to tell them exactly what to do, when to do it, and it makes their life a lot easier. It's just people need to be self-aware which one works for them. Non-verbally, so you've got body language, proper behavior. You want to kind of know where you're going with that. Put them on posters, memos, during meetings. So if you're communicating your outcome or your goal, you might also have performance appraisals or reviews where you might say, look, this is where we want it to be, this is where we are now, how do we get to that next point? And if you're talking through it together, you'll be able to know what your ultimate deadline or goal should be or will be. So if you don't do it together and you just go, oh, I want this done in a month, and the guy who logically says to you this will not be done in a month, and you push them, two things are going to happen. Ultimately they quit and you're left with another job that you have to do, or it's not achievable. So you've put in a goal that's not achievable, and your team is now stuck answering for something that wasn't achievable realistically. So you're just creating a bad workplace for no reason really, because it wasn't achievable in the first place. So if you didn't consider what everybody's output would be realistically, and you're saying we want to be on level 10 when realistically you can only build up to level 4, there's no one to blame but you if you've got high expectations. So be real, be positive. Yes, you can aim for the sky, but don't aim for another planet that's got another sky. Just be in your little bubble that's achievable. Okay, so customer needs and expectations. Most customers, they expect you to be friendly, empathize with their situation, be fair on an outcome, give them clear instructions, because you're the leader here, so they want you to essentially tell them how things are going to get done and how it's going to get better for them, and have alternatives. So give them, okay, we can do this or that. If you're saying about accommodation, oh, sorry sir, I'm really saddened by this situation. I know it's a bummer. It's a really important day for you and your wife, and I don't want to be unfair. I want to do the best by you. I don't want you to feel that you've been cheated. So I know you've booked a 2-bed single, but let's try and find you a double bed somewhere in the hotel. And then provide clear instructions what you've done. Just make sure they know what you're doing for them, and if they're not happy, what other alternatives you can do. And maybe you can sweeten the pot a little bit, not enough so that the business is at a loss, but that both people can shake hands and be happy at the end of the day. So if you can address both customer needs and expectations equally with the business expectations where everybody's happy, that's where we want to be. We don't want to be making one person too happy and another person feel like they've been cheated. Alright, so presentation wise, as a manager, you really want to set forward a standard of how you should be clothed, or what uniform you should be wearing, as the people below you will be following that as well. So I know I do this all the time, where I am more relaxed. I like a plain black t-shirt and just being comfortable as a leader in my business, and owning multiple businesses, I'm not really focused on my outlook, as in I am more focused on the outlook of my business. So sometimes that's where it can get cloudy for the people below me, where they don't tend to set a standard for themselves. So that's where I admit it. That's where I don't really set a standard. I know myself. I know I'm very self-aware, and that's where I'm lacking in my leadership. So I always tell people, set a standard for yourself, and the people below you will follow that standard. So clothes, make sure they're appropriate to the job. Essentially also make sure they're clean, hygienically clean, not just looking good, but smelling bad. But you want them to smell good, make sure they're presentable. If your place is a bit conservative, making sure you're covering tattoos, piercings, or anything that might look unprofessional. And you don't want to be wearing too loose or too fit of a shirt or a pant. Just the right fit. You don't want them creased. Iron them. Wear the right fit shoes. Make sure they're not damaged in any way. Just understanding that people want to see that presentation in you, as hospitality is really synonymous with hygiene and cleanliness. So if you put forward those qualities, they would think, okay, the product that they're getting, like a hotel room or food, would be the same. Okay. All right. Waste minimization. Recycling. Putting effort into recycling, very important, especially these days. So many plastics. We don't want to try and use plastic. Try and use biodegradable cardboard or packaging that is possible at any point. We would use biodegradable. Use reusable containers. Also, let's say if we're a takeaway, we would maybe create a program where customers would bring in their own containers, and we could fill up those containers accordingly and send that home. But it's just thinking out of the box. Reusing paper or going paperless, very important. Using more energy efficient equipment. Buying, maybe it might be an investment now, but later on you might be spending less on your electricity bills, which is very important for you moving forward in your business, because ultimately you can write off your purchasing for your equipment on your tax return. Sorry, not your tax return, but on your business activity, compared to not being able to write off your electricity, which would be an expense. So if you could, right now you would be investing in equipment, but later on you'd be paying much less in electricity. Alright, so now we're on to activity 2B. Let's go through the questions a little bit. Once you guys understand, complete the questions in your workbook, and once you've done that, come back to the video. Okay, so in groups, I would want you to explain a range of key customer needs and expectations that employees need to meet. So this is where you might want to split into groups, maybe do it evenly. Your trainer is going to be instructing you to do that, but in this section you just want to essentially tell me how you're going to be dealing with your employees, and what you should be doing, and how your customers want you to interact with them, how they want you to interact with them, what qualities they want to see in you, things like that. Professionalism, being polite, being empathetic, adjusting and being fair with them, things like that. Okay, what responsibilities do employees have at your workplace in relation to personal presentation? So we were just talking about this before. Think about what they should be wearing. Is it appropriate? Is your place conservative? Maybe their body piercings and tattoos are not really appropriate for the setting, or the clothes are a bit too tight. So making sure all those things are in the right order, and they're not smelly and not dirty and things like that, having those in place. How are individual job roles communicated to employees in your organization? So communication, we want to focus on that word there, communication. So individual job roles for your employees in the organization. So we're thinking about, for this question, what roles do they have? Is it large? Is it small? Are we making plans for them? Are we giving them manuals? Are we giving them posters? Are we giving them a task list? Things like that. What is going to convey their day-to-day, their long-term goals, and how are they meant to follow that? Some people can do it easily. They can remember if you tell them, and their brain's really sharp. Others need it step by step written down so they don't forget. Alright, so focus on these questions. Come back once you've completed them. I want you to pause the video, and when you're ready, come back to me and we can move forward with the next ones. Okay, so I hope you guys were able to complete that activity. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so how to develop team commitment and cooperation. Encourage teams and individuals to develop innovative approaches to work. So if you're empowering your team, this really helps you. Like, many brains are better than one. Even if that you might think that brain is not equal to you, they might come up with great ideas for you that you can use later on to solve your problems. So it's, it just takes that one little spark, and then you can build from there. You can snowball from there, and as you move forward, you can use what they essentially came up with, and you can build on top of that. So when you're taking in their opinions and letting them listen, they want to and you listening, they want to contribute. Most people like to contribute and feel like they mean something, and their contributions mean something. So encourage it, make sure that they're involved, and this really gives people a sense of responsibility. If they have no input in the business, they don't they don't connect with it. They won't see themselves in the business. Yes, maybe they are employees, but it might be seen as a fictional child for them, as they they're putting their efforts into it, growing it from a little baby to a child, to a infant, to a high school going teenager. You're building that profile for them where they can, if they don't like your business, they can still say, look, I did this for the business, and then they can show their resume to a new employer and say, look, I grew them from $1 million business to a $10 million business, and this is what I've done. Ultimately, you're the winner here as a leader or an owner of the business. You really get to take on the benefits that come with people giving you that positive. Sometimes it can be negative, but most or at least 99% of the time it will be positive. Most people don't want to give you negative thoughts because it's, like the word suggests, it's negative. So they don't want to be seen as the negative guy in the room. So if they are going to give you ideas, sometimes, yes, it can be lost on some people as they didn't grasp what the actual problem was. But most people who will have something to say, they might say things that are constructive and that you can build upon. So let them do that. Let them tell you what's wrong. Have meetings. Talk to each other on what we can do to empower each other and build a bigger and better business. Okay, so feedback from customers, very important, as that's who you're selling to. If you don't listen to the key people, the key stakeholders, you'll never know what your business really needs to give. If you're selling chalk and everybody's writing on whiteboards, it's really important that you know what you're selling. So if nobody's buying chalk, there's no point in selling chalk. So if your customers say, I'm looking for whiteboard markers, and you just say, no, I have chalk and that's all you're going to buy, you're not going to be making many sales. So if you're a pizza restaurant and your customers are more than often looking for burgers, it's really important for you to listen and say, okay, is pizza really important, or can I diversify and create a bigger business stream and a better stream of income with maybe adding burgers to my menu? So thinking of your customers, maybe they say, constructive criticism about your food and how you can develop in the future, what ideas. They could be telling you things that you don't know because you're stuck in the kitchen or you're stuck in the restaurant where they've just come from outside. They've been looking at others and they could tell you this is what others are doing, do it or do it better. And you can listen to that and take that on, and maybe it might help you out and create, a growing section of your business. So having those thoughts really allows you, having those reviews really allows you to focus on what's the problem or where you can build upon in your business. Alright, so now we're on to activity 2C. So when we're doing that, the question 1 is, why might it be difficult to gain innovative ideas from employees without them being encouraged? Well, most people don't want to be the guy speaking in the room. Most people shy away from attention, so allowing everybody to speak and have their turn, maybe some might forego their turn, but it allows the others who wouldn't speak at all to maybe be encouraged a little bit more to have that initiative to say something where it can be constructive and built upon by the business. So if you don't encourage it, they'll ultimately never speak up and never give you any ideas. So you want your team to really give you ideas because more heads are better than one. So try and use every asset that you have, and your workers and your employees and your colleagues are big assets for you. So remember, when you're answering that question, work around that. Talk about what reasons are important and why it can be difficult for them, the employees. So why are you encouraging them? Okay. Right, the next question is, why is it important to listen to customers and customer feedback in order to develop innovative approaches to work? How can this be encouraged? So remember we talked about why you want to listen to customers. They will have a world of knowledge about the food that they really like. So if you want to keep them coming back, you want to sell things to make them keep coming back. So how do you do that? By listening to them. If there are actual problems, yes, we can focus on that, fix those. But if they're, you want to be asking them, okay, how can we do this better? What do you want next? What will make you come back and buy more product from us? And maybe you can do rewards programs if you give them, some sort of attention, or next time they come back, they get an extra meal or some sort of reward. I think it will be really helpful. So think about why you want to listen to the feedback, how it will develop your business, and how you can keep them from going somewhere else, or how you can keep them from how you can get them to give you that feedback and that review. Okay, so once you guys have done this activity, come back to me and we will go forward to the next one. So pause the video right now and complete the questions in your learner workbook and come back when you're ready. Alright, hopefully those questions were easy for you and you've completed them. Let's move on to 2.4. Identify and reward individual and team efforts and contributions. So recognition, very important. Most people, if you skip over recognition of their ideas and their input, will kind of get angry at you, and then you will have nobody to lead and manage. So make sure you acknowledge it, give out compliments when needed, acknowledge that they've done a good work, and really be authentic in your acknowledgement. Don't just say, hey, good work, man. Be specific on why it helped you. Tell them how their input was really helpful to achieving the goals that you did together. We could do informal acknowledgement, just have a party a little bit together, have a lunch or a dinner. If you're a bigger team and can afford to, presentations, awards, employee of the month type deal, plaques, things like that they can add to their resume. We could do financial incentives like bonuses or share options in the business, things like that. And maybe you can also do references, written references, reports to management, help them apply for a promotion internally, or maybe help them apply for a better job externally, and so forth. Okay. So performance-related pay, advantage of performance-related pay, the effect that happens with performance-related pay is you see everybody, really increase their output because, they're quantifying it with, okay, this is how much dollars I'm going to make ultimately. If I put more, I'll get more. Sometimes it can lead to, a place where people tend to, come in for more. But if you don't have an ultimate goal, then you're just kind of, giving out incentives where there's an ultimate goal. So you need to attach the pay to goals once it's received, and once it's achieved, then the connection goes forward between the two. Cost to business will fall essentially if you've got more output for less workers, especially in Australia. The labour cost is huge compared to a country like India or Pakistan, where you have the ability to hire a lot more people due to the availability of people. The value of somebody's work is a lot less in those countries, and their currency is a lot less than in Australia. So in Australia, there's minimum wage, and there's a standard for each profession and role in the company or in the profession that they're in, and there's specific goals that they hit education-wise that make them in a different pay grade for the degrees that they hold. So there's many things to consider, and as they hit the organizational goals, is it more logical to have a performance-based pay structure than to have an hourly based pay structure? Because you ultimately have to decide because legally they have to be making equal or more than the output that they're doing. So if your business is steady, and you know that it will always be steady, especially let's say if it's a government-based business and there's a salary structure, I don't think they're going to be putting forward a performance-based pay structure, because they know these are amount of the cases that they'll bring in, this is how much people, so they won't really be pushing for that. But if it's a privately owned business, the ultimate goal is to make more money. So if they can make more money by hitting out more tasks with more skilled people, and it's ultimately making more profits, that's what the business will do ultimately. Alright, so appropriate to the organization, if we're a food place, we're essentially might kick in some perks for friends and family, or maybe give them a discount sometimes, or give them a free meal sometimes. That might be an easy way. You might actually set up some rewards, or some sort of package for the best employee of the month. They might get a $100 gift card or things like that that they appreciate. So you don't want to attach something to where they feel like that the output that they've done is not really coinciding with the benefit that they're receiving or the reward that they're receiving. So just assess it equally, see how much they're putting out, how much you can put out for them, and if it's not lost to the business, is it beneficial to the staff member, is it beneficial to you, is it really appropriate? And then if it hits all those boxes, go for it. If it's a holiday program and they can travel internationally, maybe you send them to Bali for a week, or if they can't, maybe you send them to Tasmania for a week, or whatever it might be, or maybe you give them an extra week of paid leave, things like that. And then have your key performance indicators, see if those things are being ticked off and hit accordingly to your plans, and then if they are, go for it. Pass on the rewards to everybody that deserves it. Be fair, and as long as you're fair, I think everybody should be acknowledging that one has done more output than the other, and most people can see that. It's just those ones that are a bit competitive. The people that are competitive will compete and might get a bit angry. That's where you might need to split the reward to equally address whoever's hit the exact performance indicators that you wanted to achieve. Alright, so 2D. What are the advantages of performance related pay? So we mentioned before, you've got things like performance and outputs going up, wage costs going down comparatively, more drive within the team. So there's many things. Give me about 4 to 5 of benefits, and then let's move on to the next question. What are the issues with the use of profit sharing as a reward for team efforts and contributions? So think about issues such as, if you're a small company, is it possible to give out any shares in your company or any rewards if you can't afford it? If it's a loss to your business, there's really no point doing a reward system that you can't afford. So it might just really be an hourly wage that everybody works together and has their output. If you've got a steady business, there is no point in going, okay, we've made the same amount of money, but because we've made the same amount of money, let's give some of these people some extra amounts. If you're a privately owned business and you see your business growing and you've got profits to give out, do that. Your staff will keep making profits for you. So as a manager, you want to be able to reward those that are making your business and treating your business like their own. So if you don't do that, they will not keep doing that. So make sure you appreciate everybody who is. Okay, so pause the video, complete the questions, write down what you need to. When you're ready, unpause, come back to the video, and we can keep moving on through the activities. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So we got model and encourage open and supportive communication within the team. So very much about allowing communication and then supporting open communication between each other and the team members, so then everybody feels heard and that they're not just a cog in the machine, so that it matters. Those cogs, they all have a role to play, and if they don't play it, the whole machine will go out of whack. So you want to be sure to oil every cog in the machine. So let's go on. Alright, so online forums for information and opinion exchange. Question and advice can be posted. So if you've got a forum or if you're reading forums, you can see what is happening, gauge what your staff might be wanting from you, have an open forum, just have meetings if you don't have the technology available to you. Have an open discussion, be frank with each other, tell each other what you want ultimately, and if it's possible and if it's achievable, if your profits have the space for it, why not? And tell them that yes, we do make profits, this is how much we make. If it's possible to make it within this, we will try and reward you as much as possible as we can. This is what we're doing. Be open. The more that red tape you put on things, the more your staff will be more likely to not want to better your business because they don't feel like they should, because you're not open with them. Why should they be? Why should they be investing anything into your business when you are not willing to invest anything in them? So invest yourself, invest in them, and you'll see the return is a lot greater than just, okay, you've come in, this is what you're getting paid for the hour. Once your shift is done, go home, and they repeat and do this, repeat, do it, repeat, and they'll get bored, they'll move on to a different career, and then you've lost the staff. Now you're having to retrain and doing all that. So listen, communicate, and react accordingly. Encourage supportive communication. So when you're supporting each other throughout your communication. Make sure you are informing them what's happening. If there are systems that they can use, if you're a big company and you might have systems that need to be followed and you're not the end pathway, maybe there's many levels of management, it might be effective for them to know how will they get their opinions heard, how will they get their thoughts across to the people that can use it best. If it's not you, who can they contact? Okay, so when you highlight those, maybe you can post them on a wall somewhere. Maybe if you've got a website, you can have a section for your staff where they can get in contact with those team members that can act on the suggestions that they bring to the table. And if it's you, then great. And if it's you they've come to with those suggestions, how will you take action on that? How will you be moving forward with the information that your staff has provided you? So make sure and is there an incentive keeping those things, letting them know, yes, you've done a good thing, this is what we're going to do, great. If it works out, this is what we'll provide to you. If it doesn't, let's hope for the positive and not the negative. Letting them know those things, having conversations, being open, being frank, being real. Don't try and use your position as a point of a choke point where you go, okay, you're the gate holder, and once they appease you, that you'll let them through. No, well, essentially your role is to manage, but not to be the gatekeeper of the business. So manage well, use ideas, talk to each other, and communicate effectively. So now we're on activity 2E. So benefits of developing a workplace forum for employees to discuss and seek advice. So when you create a forum, people can be anonymous. The discussion can be much greater. And if you do have meetings, let's say you don't have access to those technologies and you have open meetings, you might want to take a bit more time so people can go in depth on what you're discussing and what the plans are. So in the future, they can have a more constructive plan for those ideas so they can follow through. So talk about what the benefits are, and then if you can't develop a forum, how else can you do the same effect, like having meetings, and what you do with issues and how you would seek advice with them and how they can seek advice within you as a manager. Okay. Now in the second question, describe a range of actions that could be taken to encourage supportive communication within your workplace. So we were talking about how you would open up the communication, have technology systems set up. You as a manager would not be a gatekeeper of everything. You would direct them to the right place where that knowledge could go if you are not the right person. Having lists or posters on walls where the correct information can go, things like that. And how you will essentially encourage your staff to follow the procedure to communicate their ideas in the workplace. So if you've got that in place, they don't really need to come to you. They know what to do. So every time you're not getting bothered. So you're essentially making your job a bit easier. So if you've got it written down, if you've got it posted somewhere, you can go, oh, I love your idea. I'm just busy with this customer. If you can follow that poster that I've got on the kitchen wall, then when I come back to it next week, and I promise you I'll come back to it next week, we can talk it through, we can discuss it, or I can post it to somebody who can, and then move forward with it. So think about those things. Like I've said, complete the questions in your workbook, pause the video. Once you're done, come back and we can move forward like we've done so far. Alrighty, let's move on to 2.6. Seek and share information from the wider business environment with the team. So really, it's very much involved with getting information, bringing it back, and talking it through within your business and your teammates. So, You know, when we're talking about information that your employees might need to be aware of, could be emergency places, you know, evacuation places, how they should be working with other people, you know, what the conditions are of their employment, who to contact, you know, the focus and the mission statements and the vision for the company, and how the company is structured, who to contact, the benefits and responsibilities that they have at the workplace and what rights they have, if they're facing any issues, who to contact. There's a lot of talks about the goals and the culture aligning, as in if your culture is about strength and masculinity, and the goals also come with we will work 20 hours a day and then move forward. It might not be so fluid to all, as in some people have families, some people have kids, most people have families and kids, so they want to spend time with them, and your goals and the culture might not be cohesive. And places like Japan, it is frowned upon to have a 8-hour workday, and most people, if you're sleeping at work in Japan, see it as respect that you've worked so hard that you've fallen asleep. It's seen as dedication at your workplace that you've fallen asleep there. So having those things align with what your organization wants to do is really important, because you don't want to be hiring people that don't have the same goals and don't appreciate the culture you have. So then they might feel neglected and left out of your group or your team. So then they might not actually enjoy it, and it's been a waste for you, waste for them. Now you've got this whole month or 2 months that you've hired them that has gone to waste because they don't really enjoy working for you. So having those things outlined, or where they can find them, or at least telling them before they start, can really set up their expectations to the job. Alright, so induction information, tell them like the policies, procedures, the arrangement of the organization, the charts, how payroll works, policies, procedures, that are specific to their job and their work role, work health and safety information, who's, the first aid officer on site if you've got a big one, or, who's doing multiple roles, who's the food safety officer, who's in charge of taking care of the logs in your workplace, things like that. Let them know. Ultimately, the more they know, the more information they have, the less work you have to do later on. The better your foundation that you create in your staff, the less you have to do later on. So create the foundation, invest a bit more time into your staff initially, so then moving forward you can take it a lot easier. Unless if you don't do that, you're essentially having to answer for everything every moment, and they're just coming to you for the next problem and the next problem. Okay, so sharing internal business information, especially for employees, management, changes to management maybe affecting them. So you got to let them know that things are happening, things are changing, people are going in and out. If you're hiring new people, such as recruitment practices, if you're increasing the business, if you're lowering staff intake, or if you're introducing new technologies that might make them redundant, you need to let people know so that they're ready for the next phase in the business or their lives. If you're making them redundant, they need to know. So if you're going to say, oh, sorry, Jane, I've got a machine cooking the burger, and you've essentially lost your job this week, it's much better to let them know a month or two ahead, so they are prepared when they're going to lose their job because you're making them redundant. So be open and tell them ultimately having a machine is more profitable, so you're going that route, so they'll understand. Until if you lie to them until the day you get the machine, I'm sure they're not going to be happy with you, and you will see some lawyers coming after you. Alright, so sharing external business. So we've got competitive environment. Make sure you tell them, there are company secrets. There are things that make you unique, and if your employees go out there and talk to the competitor and say, okay, this is what they're doing, this is the answer, it's not on. You've created this system, and for them to do that to you, or you to do that to another company, is not on. So it's good to be competitive, but make sure you're not copying somebody. Do something that's unique to the market, so you're unique. You have a unique selling point, not just the same old thing everywhere else. If you're a Thai restaurant in a group of 10 Thai restaurants, you're nothing new. You're trying to, essentially you'll have to undercut your food price or give more quantity for the same price, compared to maybe you're an Indian restaurant in a group of Thai restaurants where people are tired of having Thai 7 days out of the week. So now you are the next guaranteed 7th day. So now they've replaced Thai with you, and that at least you have some sort of unique selling point, and you're not selling the same thing that everybody else is. Trends and customer service preferences, like I was talking to you before about online. If you don't recognize those things and let your staff know, then they don't know. They're not going to come up with business ideas on their own. If you know it, it's good to pass on those information. Think about what's coming up. Think about what is happening and what will happen, and where the direction is flowing within the business and within the economic platform that you're in. So when you're, right now, we are going through, and we have gone through numerous times, recessions within our economic climate. This has impact on things such as the hospitality industry, because most people, when there are hard times, they cut out the things that we take for granted, like eating out, and like entertainment, and things like that we don't need, such as maybe we don't need fancy dresses, or we don't need things that we usually do, such as recreationally drinking and going out to nightclubs. So usually when there are economic bad situations in the economy, the entertainment and the hospitality industries are the first to be cut out of people's daily expenditure. So that's what you got to be wary of when you're doing things. So alright, so we're on to F. Outline the business information that would be needed to be shared with new recruits during an induction session. So talk about procedures and do an induction with people about locations and the personnel who they're working with, and all the appropriate authorities, who to contact, where to be located when there is a safety drill, things like that. So talk about the important stuff that you would like to know if you were going to start, maybe about payroll, or maybe about harassment processes, or emergency protocols, things like that. Okay? Alright, so now when we talk about why might it be necessary to share information with colleagues regarding recruitment plans for the organization. So if it's affecting them, you need to make sure you consult them and let them know what's happening. If you're going to downsize your business and they're going to lose their job, they are not going to be happy for you to just tell them a week in before they are fired that, sorry, I'm getting a computer to do your job, so thanks for your 8 years of service, and now the computer is going to be taking over your job. They're not going to be happy. So you need to be straightforward and transparent with them. Communicate why you're doing it. Communicate as the times has become harder and it's becoming competitive. You need to stay competitive in the industry. And how are you going to do that? Cutting corners? Yes, maybe. Or are you going to be introducing new technologies that might make the staff redundant? So let them know how and why. If they don't know the why, they're just going to be unhappy with you just saying, sorry, we've let you go. So make sure you communicate. Alright, so complete the questions. Once it's complete, unpause the video and come back and we can move forward. Alrighty, let's do this one now. So we've got 2.7. represent team interests in the wider environment. Okay, so this could be many things though. So rostering, arranging leave, responding to outcomes and disputes, pay proceedings. So you will be involved in this type of stuff, you know. So when you're talking about your team, you don't want to be, you know, really taking the business's side. You want to be having a firm stand between you, the business, and your team, and you don't want to be really favoring one side or the other. You want to be fair. If the business has not paid the staff, you know, you put your foot down and you say these people need to be paid. If the roster was made and the staff had agreed to do the shift, and now they're saying I've got a party, well look, you know, it's going to be problematic to rearrange the shift in less than an hour's time where you have agreed to do the shift. So it's not you making the decision, it's about thinking of us. If he doesn't come in for the shift and the business is at a loss, maybe the business won't be around next week. So ultimately we all lose our jobs. We need to work as a team. So it really comes down to explaining why and what is important for the business. If you can't do something, why can't you do it? You let them know. This is not coming from me. This is not coming from the business. This is logical. This is common sense. If I don't have somebody to run for a day, I need to shut, which essentially means I lose income. So maybe I'm not around to pay my business loan, which means I might have to call bankruptcy and yada yada. So, you know, if you're explaining all that, it makes it a lot easier for them to grasp than to go, nope, you need to work, and that's it. So explain, have clear communication, and then you can move forward. Like I've been saying, clear communication is so important. Alright, so what social considerations do you have for employees? Might you represent? And personal responsible for developing a roster. So when you're considering employees, when you represent them, you want to be directly in the middle. You want to say, okay, is this logical? Has the staff member worked the legal hours that they, and do they agree to working more? And if they agree to working more, is it healthy for them? And from the business perspective, is the business being unfair by giving less or more shifts? Is it, you know, logical to spread out the work between all 10 people in the business than to make one person rich and give them more shifts? Or can that one person do more tasks so that they are getting the shift? So you need to be logical between both and be able to justify between both the employer and the people that are responsible for developing a roster, and, you know, be constructive of the thoughts that you are receiving from your employee, and be constructive of the instructions that you're getting from the person making the roster. So then you can see both. Just because you're getting paid by the company doesn't mean the company's right. So you also have an ethical responsibility to address the issue. Okay, so in what circumstances might you represent the interest of a team in relation to responding to service outcomes and disputes? So if you are legally bound to, but ethically and lawfully it is against the law to do a certain thing, you will need to represent your team member. But let's say if the dispute is against your team member where they are at fault, you will need to represent your business because the business is right and they have done the right thing. They are morally and ethically in the right, and your employee or your colleague is in the wrong. So you need to be able to justify it. At the end of the day, you know, we're all going to be ending up in the same soil, essentially. We're going to be back underground. So if you can't live with yourself and make the wrong decision, You know, you might be living with that regret for the rest of your life. So make the right decision. If you know, see if it's morally or ethically wrong, and act accordingly. So talk about those things in your questions. Once you're done, come back like usual and we can move forward to the next one. So pause the video now and come back when you're ready. Alright, let's move on. 2.8. Seek feedback from team members and implement changes within the bounds of organizational goals and policies. So when we're seeking feedback, you know, we're taking actions, and you know, we're looking at what progress has been made towards those goals. You know, did we encounter any issues, or did we feel like the target is not attainable anymore? Is it out of reach? Are there any further resources required to reach the goal? Do we need to put in or invest in more money? And is that investment going to ultimately be profitable, or is that a loss? You know, so considering those things are really important. So when we're seeking feedback, we need to consider all of these aspects. So remember these. Okay, gaining feedback on policies and procedures. When you're you know, talking about an employee and the procedures in place, they need to be clear. Okay, so where do we have conflicts upon? Usually things like rostering, things about being paid, things about leave, any counseling or any disciplinary actions. So you need to be clear, have those in place. Things about equal opportunity and fairness and not discriminating, what uniform they should wear, how they should be presented, and the discrimination and harassment situations if they do fall into a situation like that where they feel like they are being harassed, and who to communicate, and that they feel safe to do so, and that they won't have any repercussions coming back onto them when they do feel like they're being harassed. Even though it might be a person of, you know, power, they shouldn't feel like saying that they have been harassed can affect badly onto their current job role or their future career aspects. We've also got the dress and uniform standards and how they should look, cleanliness, hygiene, and the code of conduct and how they should conduct themselves at work, and what and how we should be working together cohesively. Alright, customer service policies. There's many policies that can be there. It just depends on how big your organization is. So things like how to greet customers, complaints and disputes, how to address those, and if there's a register and things like that. Loyalty programs, what the actual procedures are for loyalty programs, what are they you know, able to attain using those loyalty programs, the pricing and service guarantees, and what, you know, your mission statement and your vision statements are, and do they conflict with that? You know, if you're pricing something that is unfair, is that going to ultimately affect, you know, put you know, a bad, how would I say it, you know, is that going to affect your business in a negative way? So think about product quality, what your standards are, setting standards, having logs, what you're going to do about having refunds and cancellations, and does the business have those already in place, or you're going to have to create them. Response times, what is the kitchen prep time, production time, how long you're going to take to serve it to the table, how long you're going to give the staff for any corrections or any you know, wrong orders, what you're going to do, what the procedures are, things like that. You need to have those in place, so when it does happen, you can say, okay, these are the processes that we have, this is how we're going to react, this is what we're going to do. So you're not always coming up with new things and having to solve them as you go along. Alright, so 2H, we're talking about seeking feedback and the range of organizational proceedings, what are the benefits and methods. So, you know, considering what we're going to do, we've got, like I said to you before, think about what you're looking for in the feedback. Is it going to be giving you the intended outcome that you want? And if it doesn't, why? Why do you not get what you were looking for? So then you can address that. Okay. But you also need to encourage everybody to give you those feedbacks, otherwise they're not going to say anything. So you need to have an open forum, make sure they can get in touch with you, talk to you, so it's okay for them to give you that feedback. What actions can you take to improve your group dynamics? We can talk about many things, such as, if people are not gelling together, you can move one person out of your team, or maybe you need more people in your team because the work has become too much. So you always need to be monitoring everybody and see what needs to be done, what needs to be improved on, so you can move forward and your group is highly motivated and enthusiastic about the tasks that they're doing. Alright, provide 4 examples of workplace policies and procedures that you may want to gain feedback about from employees. So, think about the personal leave, requirements, counseling, equal pay, and all the discriminatory procedures and things like that, and if it has any loopholes and any repercussions for them, all this kind of stuff. Do they feel like it's too open, if it's not personal enough or private enough, or is the person that's dealing with it not doing the right thing, things like that? How would they act upon that? So those procedures and uniforms and everything like that. So think about that. There's a few there. Give me 4 examples. Alright, so get your questions done. Pause the video now, get the questions done, write them up in your learner workbook. Once you're done, unpause the video, come back, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, 3.1, delegate tasks and responsibilities, identify barriers to delegation, and implement processes to overcome them. So we've got employee rights and responsibilities. So employees, they've got rights and responsibilities. So you've got attendance to their shifts. They've got rights for confidentiality and privacy, and obeying lawful orders. They have a responsibility to obey any orders that you're given that are lawful, and that you're not asking them to do something that is going to be something that's harmful to them. But as long as it is easy for them to do and not illegal, they should be undertaking their task. If it's something difficult for them, then you need to find somebody that this can be easy for, and they will be able to undertake that task. Protection, discrimination, and sexual harassment. So people should be able to know what the processes are in those situations, and what what services and people are available to them in those situations. Punctuality, safety, and care with respect to WHS. It's really important that you make sure that all your workers are safe. It's your responsibility as the leader or a business owner. It's very important that the people who come to work for you are safe. It's because they're the one that's going to keep your company moving. Essentially, yes, you've done the investment. Yes, you have opened up, or yes, you have created these processes and kept your company going, but without the staff, you will not have a company to move forward with. So you need to make sure wherever they're working, it's safe, so that they can keep working for you and make you or the business money. And if it's in an unhealthy or unsecure space, it's more than likely that they'll injure themselves, and you will be facing legal repercussions. So make sure it's safe. Barriers to delegation. So a lot of people might resist. So resistance in doing specific tasks that they don't like to do. You know, time to time, you'll see me if you're around cleaning toilets or you know, doing the dirty work, cleaning drains in the kitchen. Why? Because everybody needs to do these tasks. So if me as a leader can do those tasks and not separate myself and say that me in this position will still do those tasks, then those workers will not have any excuse to say, oh, he's doing it, so we should too. But if I say I don't do that, then they will say, oh, he doesn't do it, why should we? So, lead by example. Okay. Alright, so employees may already have too many other tasks, and that for hospitality, yes, that becomes an issue where some people have too many tasks and others are only hired for a specific task. So you sometimes may see them just standing at the counter and looking all pretty, and then you think, I'm doing all this and they're doing nothing. So you need to even up the tasks, make sure everybody's got jobs to do, so nobody is looking like that they're not earning their keep. So, alright, unsure about who is correct, who is the correct individual or group of employees to perform the role. So if you're not if you're not really sure who to do or who to give the task to, ask them, can you do this? Is this something that you've done before? It's really important. You know, this task needs to be done. If you don't know, do you know of somebody in our team that can? And if they don't know, then perform the same task with another employee and ask them, oh, this is what needs to be done. If you cannot, do you know somebody else who can? And maybe convey why it is important, because it needs to be done now, it's time sensitive, is really factoring the business and how we're moving forward. You know, convey those ideas, and maybe one of them will put their hands up and say, yes, I know how to do this, I will help you. Alright, solving barriers, you know, provide training and mentoring, you know, be prepared to have employees make mistakes and you'll talk them through it. They're not perfect. As long as they learn from their mistakes, that's all you need. Don't allow them to make the same mistakes over and over again, you know, so then they haven't really learned. Encourage employees to provide constructive feedback to you and you to them. You know, vice versa. If they've got issues with you, let them, you know that they can talk to you or talk to others. And if you've got issues with them, make sure you can tell them openly and how they're going to fix it, and not just say this is the problem, but this is the problem that we are facing together as a team, and these are the things that we need to do as a team to move forward to eliminate this problem. And also help employees to prioritize important tasks that you need to do. So when we're creating short-term goals, it's really important about, okay, what can we solve now? When we're creating midterm goals, okay, what is going to take a little bit of time but can be solved, and it's not really that important for us to solve right now. And then long-term goals, okay, what are we planning ahead to? What is the problem? How many steps are there? Okay, there's 10 months. All right, let's work towards it. Every month we've got some sort of agenda, and we're hitting that and we're moving forward. So activity 3A, we're talking about you know, informing employees nature of the scope of work in advance of their shift. So in pairs, if you don't have pairs, you might want to work with a group. So just even out your group and see if it's possible. You might end up having to work with your trainer on this if there's an odd number. Yeah, but just talk about and write in your workbook what, you know, why is it important to you know, inform employees on what they're going to do. If they don't know what they're going to do, then they're going to show up to work and then not have any idea of the tasks that they should be conducting. So make sure they are trained in the job role, they know what they're going to do, and moving forward they will continue to do that task better and better every day as they learn to do the task a lot quicker, a lot swifter. Alright, identify a range of barriers that may arise when delegating tasks and responsibilities. Highlight barriers to overcome them. Alright, so what are the barriers? We've talked about like skill, if they're not trained, if they don't want to do it, too many tasks, and then sometimes they are not interested in doing the task. So how do you overcome that? Maybe putting them through proper training, asking them what they actually want to do and what they're capable of, letting them know why they need to do the task, and it's not just because I told you so. It has a valid reason, so you need to tell them the valid reason that they need to. And also to lead by example. If you show them that you have done the task and you do it regularly and that you're not a superhero, then it should be approachable for them to do it as well. Okay, so finish that task, come back to me, and then we can move forward with the next ones. Alrighty, now we got 3.2, evaluate team member skills and provide opportunities for individual development. Provide mentoring and coaching to support team members. So this is really about doing. So this is when we have to do things in the class. Alright, so evaluating of team member skills, observing people in the workplace, asking them about their strengths and weaknesses and the skill sets that they might have, asking for employees to highlight the skills of their colleagues as well as weaknesses, reviewing qualifications, assessing training or courses undertaken, going through the work completed. So essentially when we are evaluating somebody, we are giving them an outcome of what they have done, whether good or bad. So if I was to evaluate one of my students, I would tell them what they've done, first of all, where they're lacking, where they're doing really good, and then where to improve so they can reach the goal that they're intending to reach, or their qualifications. So it's not that they can't achieve it, it's just they're a few steps away from achieving it, or that they've done really well and they have done above and beyond what they were expected to do. So you need to let them know that they've done really good, or that they're not there yet. That's always the main point. It's they are at one level, let's say level 3, and these are the tasks that will push them forward to level 4. So it's not that they can't achieve it, it's just that these things will need to be hit or completed by them so they can move forward. Okay, coaching or training may involve on-the-job training. For us in the hospitality industry, we're always training. This is this should be second nature to us. We've got young kids, people new to the industry all the time. Hospitality hires, probably they're the major aspect in the world of hiring people who don't have any employability skills. So straight out of high school, straight out of university, hospitality is pretty much everybody's first go at getting a job, because hospitality, easy. Everybody, okay, you can take orders, okay, good, let's get you on a shift. Alright, you can you know how to make coffees, alright, cool, let's get you on a shift. So everybody's willing to give you a chance in hospitality. It's just, can you take that chance and run with it? Okay, so now when we're entering them into the mentoring program, if you have mentoring programs, it's very helpful, especially if you've got university graduates. You might have, if you're a big company, you might have an internship program or a mentoring program where they come in and they follow somebody around and they learn from them, and they might have a mentor come to their work, or their place of learning might be an RTO or a college or a school, and then give them advice on what they should be doing for their workplace. Giving them training materials to study, so books, online resources, websites, things like that. Having assessments so they can gauge where they are, and you as a leader and their manager to gauge where they are. So then you can say, okay, this is the level, you're at level 3 right now, so to get to level 4 next, you'll need to do these tasks, and so they know what they have to achieve to move forward with their skill set. and providing them with training videos like I am doing now with you guys. I'm giving you a video, so everybody that's watching, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm giving you coaching and training, so you guys can use this as a resource and then move forward with your training. And maybe when I'm not there, you can refer back to this video. If maybe I'm not in the college to answer your questions, you can look back at this video and find the answers to the questions that you're looking for. Alright, practicing active listening. Active listening is very important. Okay, so you're not just going, okay, alright. So when you're listening, you need to just pause a little bit. Just make sure you break everything down. Clarify with the person what they're actually wanting. Okay, paraphrase their words so it makes it a bit easier for maybe you to understand, or the third person in the room to understand. Maybe they're asking a question and you've understood it in your mind, but maybe the third person has not been able to. So you can reword it just so that everybody else can understand. Alright, reflecting your feelings, their feelings. Talk about, what this question is about. Why is it making you feel this way? Or can it be said in a different way? Or, is the way that you're delivering the question not approachable? And can we deliver it in another way? All right? And then at the end, summarize what we've talked about. Come to a conclusion. This is what we've done. This is what we're going to do. And this is the outcome that we're looking for. Come to those little conclusions there. Alright, activity 3B, describe 3 methods of evaluating your skills of team members. So, observing the team members, going through training, looking at their strengths and weaknesses and things like that. So, when you're already going through everything, you're going, okay, this is what you have now. If you're going to give them qualifications, moving forward, they will be at a higher level. Okay. So yeah, just tell me 3 methods of evaluating skills and how you're going to do that, how you're going to evaluate them. Could it be that you're looking at their qualifications? Could it be that you're giving them a task to perform and then you're monitoring them during that task and then saying what they've done really well, what they can improve on, what steps that they need to do, things like that. So you might be going through previous work that they've done and then giving them an assessment and your review on what they've done before. Okay, now provide a range of examples of training and coaching that is utilized in your organization. So most of us will be working at restaurants, pubs, clubs, hotels, so we're all about hospitality. So examples of training, we train every day. We've got new staff every day. So when we're coaching somebody, we're going to use videos. We're going to be using our own ideas. We're going to be using, resources like manuals and step-by-step processes and posters. And so we're going to be using all these things to coach. And you just need to tell me how you're going to utilize them, where you're going to utilize them, how your new staff member will be able to use them. Okay, and where they're placed in the organization, things like that. Right, so once you're done, come back to the video, unpause it, and we can move on to the next one. Okay, so we're on 3.3, monitor team performance to ensure progress towards achievement of goals. So attendance, as overall attendance approved. So think about is the employee missing out on shifts? Are they coming in late? And have they progressed into, if they were coming in late or if they were missing out on shifts, have they improved on their attendance on that? Have they come in on time? Have they not missed a shift in a while? Using supportive systems. Have teams making use of supportive systems? So, have they been using each other? Have they been communicating with each other? Have they used online systems to keep on track? Have they been logging in to their training portals or things like that? Have they been in contact with regular systems that will help them improve themselves? Okay. Group dynamic. Are they gelling together? Is the group working together effectively, and are they having a interesting experience where nobody's feeling left out and everybody's engaged and they're planning to move forward after every step. Material usage, has there been a reduction in wastage? So when we're monitoring progress, and if we're creating less waste, using less paper, throwing away less food, ultimately we're using less of the money that's available in our budget to and we can use that from the accounts into and move that into our profits. So ultimately we're making more profits if we're reducing the waste and reducing the paper usage and all that kind of stuff. So we're monitoring that ultimately keeps more money in our pockets. Okay, so monitoring phone calls, are they greeting customers consistently? Is their approach professional? Are they telling people who they are and what their role is in the business and how they will help the customer, or how they will approach the problem that you're giving them over the phone? Are they giving a correct response to people, meaning that are they being rude, or are they providing a solution for them, or are they just talking nonsense and wasting other people's time? Detailing how they query will be responded to, so bringing out a step-by-step process. Are they saying, okay, thank you for your feedback, and the process next that we will follow is this, we'll get in touch with you then, and we will then try and solve the problem by doing this or this, and then if you are not happy, we'll still try and find another solution. Something in that line, something in that order, so at least that they follow a structured procedure that at least outlines what they're going to do. And at the end, are they doing if they were on the other side of the call, are they being polite? Are they treating the other person on the phone call like they would like to be treated? Are they being a proper human being? Things like that. So activity 3C, describe 2 aspects of team performance that you need to be monitored when reviewing progress towards meeting goals. So if you're thinking about are they attending? You'd want to make sure that they're attending. Are they hitting the goals and using less waste? Are they using the supportive systems that are there? Are they working together well? If not, why? So you need to gauge what's happening, and monitoring is so important, because if you can monitor early and find out where the influxes are, where the problems are happening, you can isolate and remove that and see, is it changing the dynamic? Okay? So number 2, explain how reviewing complaints can act as useful method of monitoring customer service levels. So first of all, you got to think, if last month we had 30 complaints, and this month with the same amount of people and a different approach, we only had 20 complaints, definitely something is working. We're not getting the same amount of complaints, and our approach is working. But let's say if we get 30 reviews or complaints last month, and this month we get 40 complaints with our new approach, then something that we're doing is wrong and we need to change it up. Maybe what we were doing before is correct and the new approach didn't work, and we found out that the new approach is not as effective as the previous approach, and we were better off using the old approach to the problems that we were doing. So think about that, see how you're going to address the problem. Just compare in your answer. Okay, alright, so finish that and come back to me when you're ready and we can move forward. Alright, so pause the video now, complete the answer, write it in your learner book, and then come back when you're ready to unpause. Okay? Okay, so now we're moving on to motivate individuals and teams to achieve optimum performance. Now, when we are talking about optimum performance, we want to make sure, everybody is at their peak. But peaks are different. So my peak will be different to the person sitting next to me, as we are not all the same. So you as a leader will have to gauge who to pair up or group together, as in which team will push themselves further within that group together, and they will keep pushing each other and bounce off each other and work off each other, and who will most likely has a weaker point, who is more likely to say, nope, I'm done for the day at 5 o'clock and I will come back with the same amount of energy I came today, and we will hit the ground running. And who is more willing to push themselves until they crash and then come back again and then push themselves. So if you put those people together, they will work more efficiently. And the people who like to have a specific time, they will work together and then come back and start again, and they will work cohesively. So you need to decide on who to pair up with depending on what their peaks and performance levels are. So when we're doing motivation and addressing people's personalities, there's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So you want to talk about the psychological needs, okay? So the physiological needs. So this is physical things, what they need to survive, food, water, air, and sleep. And then you've got the security needs, so that what makes them feel safe and secure and happy. And then you've got the social needs, where they feel like they belong somewhere and that they are receiving the affection, right? Or at least the appreciation for what they are contributing to the group of people. Then there's esteem needs, so self-esteem, this is where things will impact their self-esteem. So confidence, things like appraise and giving constructive criticism, or criticism that lifts them up, or criticism that can take them down. So those things you'll need to pay attention to. Then there's self-actualization needs, so that some people are not self-aware and some people are very self-aware. So the ones that are self-aware, they're fine, and they're going to use that to their ability. So they'll say, okay, I like to work 9 to 5 only, or I like to work at evenings, and that's where I enjoy it. And the ones who don't know, they will never know. So you will need to realize for them what they can do and what their potentials are. So this is where you'll really need to be monitoring them, where they can't monitor themselves, especially for people new to the industry. They've never done this before. So you can see when you're monitoring them where they're strong and where they're, where they need to develop, and then you can focus on the areas that they need to develop a little bit more. So now, as we're going through the Maslow's hierarchy, okay, so you kind of want to remember, so physiological, security, social, self-esteem, and self-actualization. So there's, I would say, instead of PSSES, it's better to kind of say P and quadruple S. So you go physiological, security, social, self-esteem, self-actualization, okay, or awareness, self-awareness. So providing feedback. When you're providing feedback, sometimes you can be incorrect. It's if you're not really strong in the topic and you don't know what you're talking about, or you may know some but not all, it's really good to bring in an external person who does know a lot about that topic or that task. Bring them in and get them to monitor the staff member, and they can really let you know, okay, are they doing what they're supposed to? Are they doing it to the rate at which we expect them to do it for our business? And are they doing more or less, and how can we change or improve that? Okay, are they doing better than normal employees do it, and why? Why is it that they're doing better and that others aren't? Okay, so once you have that feedback, let them know, and then confirm with them, okay, this is what we think are your weaknesses and strengths and where we can develop. And then it will inform them, and then ask them, okay, do you have any concerns with what we're saying? Do you think we may be incorrect in any other places? So then they can continue on with what they're doing, or they can focus on the areas that they are lacking a little bit, and they can improve. And then corrective feedback as they improve and You know, they focus on the areas that they need to improve on. You can monitor that and say, okay, these are the things that you need to do. We will monitor you, and hopefully you get up to the level that we want you to be, or you are at this level and we want you to be a bit better. And then once you've done that, they know what to do then, and they can confirm with you, yes, I'm feeling a lot better, or I'm doing this a lot better, I now understand all these tasks now, and I think I should be smooth to go on with this by myself. It makes the work easier for everybody. They know what they're doing, you know what you're doing, and you're good to go. Alright, so activity 3D. So how can Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory be applied to motivation of employees? So we're doing the P and 4 S's. So we're going for physiological. If they're motivated by what they need, most people need money to survive and buy food, so that's very important. So physiologically, they need the outcome of the work, which can provide them with finances to work. Then you've got social, self-esteem. Those things are very connected. Some people feel proud in what they do for a living, so it connects them to who they are. And then it also gives them a social standing of who they are. So people give them value according to what they do for a living. So it's not in all social circles, but in most Western social circles, and especially Asian and Eastern kind of circles, what you do for a living really creates a lot of who you are. So it's very important. So a lot of it is cultural, but it still also gives you a sense of belonging and where you position yourself in life. And where you want to go. If you are starting from somewhere, that can, the esteem part can allow you to be aware of, okay, I can push myself a little bit more and get to a higher position. And then we've got the other, self-awareness, and then we've got, I think we've talked about it all four. Yeah, so you've got the physiological, security, so if they feel safe, and then you've got the self-esteem, social, and the self-actualization. So being aware of who they are, what they can do. Okay? Alright, so now, talk about what you're going to do. Write it down on your learner workbook. Pause the video for now. Come back to me when you've done that task, and then we can move on to the last one. Okay, so now we are on 3.6, provide recognition and rewards for team achievements. So when we are recognizing or rewarding the team, we're gonna set goals, and if the team meets those goals or even gets close to them, and we feel like they deserve a reward or recognition, we will, you should be at least giving them some sort of recognition, reward, or bonus, or something like this. Okay, because these positive kind of acknowledgements will give them more incentive in the future, because that means if they're getting incentives now, as they do more and more improved tasks and better output, they will get more and more recognition going forward. So positive observations of the team performance, innovative ideas being developed by the team, positive customer feedback, the delivery of a particularly successful event, and team members working in a lot of overtime. Now, overtime is a tricky thing because you don't want your workers to be, overworking themselves. So you really want to monitor that. You don't want them to keep working and then burn out. You want a steady pace, but people do work differently. So some people like to just hit like 3 or 4 days continuously, and then they want to have a break for 3 days or 2 days, and then come back to work and hit another 3 or 4 days. So it really depends on the person. A lot of people work. Like myself, I really like to push myself. But then there are times where I just like to be really lazy. So, I'm self-aware of that, but other people might not be. So they really need to open up and tell you what they like, so you can essentially be self-aware for them and monitor them and see what type of person they are, and then tell them this is what you recommend for them to be doing. Okay? Alright, so when you're going to be rewarding them, make sure it's for something. Don't just reward them without it being logical. Otherwise it won't really connect to anything. Alright, so methods of recognition, you can allow them flexible hours. Like I said, like I love to do a 12-hour day sometimes, 14-hour day, 18-hour day, maybe 20-hour days, because I'm on a roll. I'm going, I'm firing like a gun, But other days when I don't really want to do anything, it's just I lack inspiration. I don't want to really get out of bed sometimes because I'm not feeling it, And then sometimes I'll just go 20 hours, following day, wake up, 2-3 hours sleep, go again. It's just really dependent on the task. So, you can offer flexible hours for those type of people. They can work maybe 40 hours over 3 days or 4 days, and then come back maybe 2 days after, where they can have that break where they're recharged and then hit again. Okay. All right, offering time off as a reward. Some people like to go on holidays, so maybe you can't afford to pay for the holiday, but maybe you can afford to pay the time off. Taking employees for a meal or a party, and then gifts, always good, like a gift card or some sort of membership or something that at least they feel appreciated. They've done that work, and then at the end you've done some sort of reward. I always like to understand where my employee is at their life and what are they lacking. So I know it's a judgment call that I make sometimes, but I will see the employee and really monitor them and see what they really need to better themselves. Maybe the time off is not going to help them. Maybe they'll just go and work somewhere else to make the cash, but maybe that cash incentive will be beneficial to them. So it's just understanding what that employee is looking for and what they want out of their career. Alright, so 3E, last one. We've got provide 3 examples of team achievements that may lead to recognition and rewards, and what methods could you use to recognize them with the team achievement. These are pretty easy. So you want to reward them for actually hitting the targets that you've set and achieving the goals in time and improving performance, reducing waste, all those kind of things. Anything that's really increasing the bottom line at the end of the day. More money in your pocket means you should be putting more money in your employee's pocket ultimately. What methods could you use to recognize and reward the team achievements? We just spoke about it. You can offer bonuses, time off, flexible hours. There's many things. Maybe party. It just depends on your budget, what you can afford for the person, and justifying it to them. Look, this is all I've got, but I still want to appreciate you. So let's have a little get together, or this is a gift card or something like that. And then just show your appreciation and just explain what's up and how you really cherish the work that they've given and outputted for your company or your business or the business that you work for. Alright, so we're on the last activity. I don't want you to pause now because we're at the end of the slides, so I want to finish it off, and then once I'm finished you guys can continue on with this activity and close off your learner workbook, and then submit the learner workbook to the your trainer or the Wiseman specified email address, and then you're all good to go for your multiple choice learner workbook, the knowledge questions and the skill and performance as you guys are performing them. So we've got like I said, the skill, knowledge and performance and we've also got the multiple choice, which is online, like the learner workbook. So if you guys have any questions, okay, you guys have my email, but if not, it's admin@wisemanaeducation.com.au. If you've got any feedback or any suggestions how I can improve, just shoot me an email and we should be good to go. So enjoy your day, finish off that last task. Otherwise, if you go home and you forget to do it, you'll be left and you won't be able to finish it. So finish that off now. I've already kind of given you some help with that. Go forward, and then we'll see each other on the next time. All right? Cool.